You know what I find annoying? Trash day. I don't know how trash day gets here so fast every week. I put out the trash, and then it seems like a few moments later I'm putting out the trash again. And supposedly a week goes by. But to me it feels like the same day. It's like that movie Groundhog Day. I feel like I'm doing the trash every day. Every day I'm doing the trash. But in reality, it's once a week. But when I'm doing the trash, it feels like I just did the trash. I don't know. What's up? How you doing? Here we are, Christmas Eve, the 24th of December, 2021. We're going to do a little bit of cooking tonight. Pork. And got some other items inside, but I'll do those in a little bit. Anyway, I'm very excited about tomorrow. Let me put this over here. I'm very excited about tomorrow. It was supposed to happen tonight or today, but tomorrow James Webb Telescope is going up. Hopefully. I hope nothing happens. I hope the weather's fine. I hope there's no cancellation due to technical problems. But I've been waiting a very long time for this. And it's a annoying car there. Anyway, I've been waiting a very long time for this. This thing is going to open up doors. It's going to answer some scientific questions, hopefully. And it's going to bring back some good images, like that camera from Kodak, that Instamatic camera. It's going to look like that. So we wait. I hope tomorrow when I get up, they launch, it's successful, no issues, and I hope this thing goes into the right orbit. And I hope there's nothing wrong with the mirror. Remember Hubble? When they sent Hubble up originally, the mirror was off by, I forget what the percentage was, but it was a small fraction of a percentage. And then it was sending home blurry images. They have since fixed that problem. They sent people up there, and they, with the screwdrivers and the wrenches, and they changed out the mirror. They put a mirror that was perfect. But even with the bad mirrors, they were able to use software to fix the blurriness. They can do that now. But anyway, they fixed it, and we got back some awesome images from the Hubble telescope. So I'm very excited about that. James Webb. James Webb is far more sophisticated. $10 billion. It's a lot of money. So I'm going to begin the cooking, and that's it for now. So when I was a kid, all the way through high school, senior year, big fan of the Science Museum, or the Museum of Science. I can't tell you how many times I have been in that building. I had a friend back then whose father was like director. He had a good job in there, and the night before we would tell him, tomorrow we're coming to the museum. So he would leave our names at the front desk, and then we would show up. We'd go in there, and the guy at the front desk would say, "Can I help you?" And we'd give our names, and he'd check his list twice, and he'd see our names on there, and then he'd say, "Go right on through." And we would explore all day at the Science Museum. Then we would go and eat at the cafeteria. And my favorite part was the space program. Gemini, Mercury, Apollo. I like Apollo Creed too, but anyway, Apollo with the Saturn V rockets. Oh man, I could not get enough of reading about that, even today. Saturn V. But that's where the answers come from. And tomorrow James Webb is going to launch. So let's see what happens. A bit cloudy tonight. See some weird looking clouds. Sometimes I look at clouds and I could see faces in there. The way the gravity pulls on them, they form faces. And then that's only for a moment, and then that goes away. Like right now, I see a face. You know, the mind is trained to find patterns, and sometimes we find patterns when none exist. Make it up. If NASA called me tomorrow and they said, we need a volunteer to go to Mars, you may not come back, or you may come back, you never know, but we need somebody who's willing to take the chance, I'll go. Doesn't even have to be Mars. If they said Pluto, I go to Pluto. I'll bring my jacket, my gloves, and I'll go to Pluto. I'm very fascinated with this stuff. I want to see another world. Remember that soap opera, Another World? And they had one, As the World Turns. I'm not a soap opera guy, but in 1983, for a brief period, I got hooked on General Hospital. Couldn't stop watching. I couldn't wait for 3 p.m. to come, because that's when General Hospital would come on. And I got pulled into the storyline, and this was the one where Luke Spencer, I think he went on a ski trip or something, and he was up on the mountains. There was an avalanche, but prior to that avalanche, he got robbed. Somebody stole his wallet, and the avalanche hits. Luke Spencer is inside rolling like a pinball, but the guy that robbed him is also in the avalanche, and that guy gets killed. They find that guy, and he's dead, but in his back pocket, Luke Spencer's wallet with his ID, so they identify. Apparently, back then they didn't have dental records or DNA or any of that, so they went by the wallet. The license said Luke Spencer, but Luke Spencer was alive but paralyzed, and he was in some hospital up in the mountains or some facility, I don't know, or some lady's house, I don't know. The lady was Natasha or Natalie, I think it was Natasha, and she was taking care of him. And then one day he gets up and he starts standing up on his own. He starts walking around, and you know, they thought he was gonna be paralyzed forever, and eventually he goes back to Port Charles, where Holly, who used to be his wife, this is after Luke and Laura, so he meets Holly, they hook up, and then she thinks he's dead, so she marries Robert Scorpio. That a cool name, Scorpio. Robert Scorpio was like the police commissioner of Port Charles. Had this room in his house, hit the button, the wall would open up, and he had this computer thing with a countertop. Anyway, I got hooked, and I was watching that all the time, and that had to do with the DVX and these spies. And Natalie, or Natasha, the nurse, was a spy. She was working for the DVX. And then there was a professor who developed some kind of Promethean disc or something like that. I don't remember the name of it. It was some kind of satellite technology, and they were after him. When Luke came back, Holly saw him, and I remember it was a Friday, and she saw him and she fainted in the house. She fainted, and then they stopped it there, had to wait for the weekend and Monday to see what happened. But I could not get enough. It lasted for a few months. And then after that, I said, okay, I'm done with this soap opera stuff. And now I can't watch it because I'd have to have somebody explain to me what the storylines are. I remember one time I went down to the library, and they have these thick books, and they give you a brief storyline of the soap operas. Like every month, it'll give you like an update of what happened that month, and they go way back into the 50s. So one day I sat there reading and reading and reading about all these storylines. I remember Jessie, the nurse, head nurse there, she had a lot of acting on General Hospital until she got old, and then they kept her on the front desk. Every once in a while when I would get bored, this is many, many years ago, in my teen years, I'd hop on the bus and go to the movie theater. But I wouldn't have a movie in mind to see. I'd get to the movie theater and I'd randomly look up. Back then they used to have these I don't know what they were, boards with little letters you can put into them when they had the movie titles in there, and PG and R and G and all that. And I would look quickly up there, and whatever name grabbed me, I would pick that, and I would say, give me a ticket for that, and I'd go and watch the movie. Well, one of those movies was a movie called Breaking Away, and I love that movie. Dennis Quaid, I think, is in that. He's in that. And I got in there, and it just pulled me in again. The bike thing. I was really into bikes in those days. I was a big bike rider, not these 10-speed things. I had a Apollo Ross 5-speed chopper, and I used to jump with that. I used to jump over things, steps, stairs, dirt mounds, sidewalks, you know, with the edges. I used to use that as a ramp. We had a street in my neighborhood, used to call it Bumpy Street. It had all these jagged rocks sticking out, and there was a rock, it was in the shape of a ramp, and we would gather there and jump and measure how far we would jump. Plus, in those days, when I was a kid, Evel Knievel, he was a big deal. But anyway, yeah, and I had that bike for years. I used to ride that bike everywhere, far away from my house. Nobody knew where I was back then. No cell phones. Nobody hunted you down. Sorry. Anyway.